Hey everybody, it's Mr. Mott. What I want to go through is our setup for titration of our acid and base and how to hook up our wireless pH probes to our LabQuest. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to have your burette set up like I have here. And what you're going to notice, we got our burette. We also have one of these claw clamps here. You've got a beaker, and then in your beaker there's a magnetic stir bar, and here's our magnetic stir. So that's really going to help us in our lab, so we don't have to constantly swirl our flask or anything like that. So typically what we're going to do is that we're going to have base as our titrant. So in our burette, we're going to have a base like sodium hydroxide, and then we maybe have some type of acid in our beaker along with some water. And that's typically what our lab setup and what we're going to titrate. As far as setting up our sensor, what we're going to do is go to our LabQuest here, and here is a wireless pH sensor. This is number 3 that we have, and right now it's in some pH storage solution. And what we need to do is hook this up to our LabQuest and then calibrate it. So to hook it up to our LabQuest, since it's wireless, we're going to have one of our wireless sensors, which I just dropped. There we go. So what we want to do is hook this up, and there's a little bit of a nub that sticks out there. We'll line that up with our the opening, okay, and then we'll push that in and then turn it to kind of lock it in place. Okay, we're also going to make sure that this is blinking, which it is. That tells me that it's the wireless is on, and then we can connect our LabQuest to it. So important note here, even though I had pH number 3, my wireless number is 1. So you always want to make sure you're connecting to the correct wireless number. So let's go to our LabQuest, and we're going to go under Sensors, which is at the top here. If you're in a different screen, it might give you something different. We'll go under Sensors, go Wireless Setup, and then go Wireless. And we're going to look for number 1, which is our pH sensor, which is right here. And I'm going to hit OK. And now the LabQuest is going to sense the sensor in there. And this is a good sign because my pH storage solution is roughly pH 4 with some potassium chloride in it. So right now it should be reading around 4, but we want to go ahead and calibrate this as well. Okay, so I'm going to set that there. Hopefully it stays where it's at. And I'll show you how to calibrate this. So what I want to do is I want to unscrew this. This is kind of a compression gasket, this rubber gasket here. So I can unscrew that a bit so then I can pull straight up and get my sensor out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rinse this off with water, and I'm going to put it in different pH solutions, pH 4 and 7, and calibrate it. So I'm going to rinse this off first. Okay, and I've got some, I'll just put it up here for now. This is some pH 4 buffer, and ours is red in color. So I'm going to put that in here, and then in here I'm going to tap inside, and I'm going to go down to the bottom where it says calibrate and press that. So now at the top, they asked me what I want to do. I'm going to calibrate this now. I'm going to move this off of here for a moment so we can see better. So I'm going to press calibrate now. Whoops. And now we're going to kind of let this sort of equilibrate here. We're going to enter pH 4, and once everything is settled, then we'll hit enter. So what's happening, what we want to look for is that live voltage. It's actually reading like a potential difference, and make sure that that value is stable. And it looks like it is stable. And so I'm going to press keep, which is down the bottom right. Boy, this is hard to do with just one set of hands. So the next thing I want to do is I want to do a second solution, which is my pH 7 buffer. So I'm going to rinse off my pH probe, shake off the excess water. My pH 7 buffer, ours is yellow in color. Okay, so I'm going to put that into my put my pH meter in pH 7. And what I notice is that this is typically reading a voltage somewhere around 0. don't worry about that it's negative or anything, but it looks pretty stable. So I'm going to enter 7, and since this is pretty stable, I'm going to hit keep. And now, since I've done my 2-point calibration, I'm going to hit OK. So now what should happen is that we've calibrated this and told the pH meter that this should be reading 7, which it is. And just to check this, I could always put this back into my pH 4 buffer just to make sure that everything is working properly. And I'll put that back in pH 4 buffer, and I'm going to stir that around, and it should come down to right around 4, which it is. So then I'm ready to start my experiment. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to rinse this off. Okay. I'm going to set my pH probe in here. You can use the claw to kind of grip this, or just kind of let it set in there, and that sort of thing. So mine is just sort of resting in there, which is fine. I want to make sure to add some water into here. I want enough water so that my pH probe is submerged, so that bottom of the bulb is submerged in there, which is kind of hard to see from this angle. Maybe if I turn this here, we see that the bottom is submerged in there, so that pH meter is submerged in there. We would add whichever acid we're titrating in there, and then we begin our titration. So hopefully that's helped you with setting up our LabQuest, doing a 2-point calibration with our pH sensors and hooking up wirelessly. Thanks for watching.